Okay, so I wanted to talk about those recent elections that we just had on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. I don't know what they would be considered. They're not midterm elections. They're not, critical elections in the sense of, a president or something. But they're some kind of election that happened. Some states had governor runs. Some states had mayors. Or cities, I should say, had mayors. Whatever. But I gotta say, of course, it went as worst as possible. Now, before we get into anything, I will say this. On one hand, it is mildly expected, the outcomes that we had, because these were Democratic strongholds to begin with. So, even though everything went very blue, it's kind of expected. It's not like any red states were flipped or something. You know what I mean? It's okay. All these people on the left are trying to celebrate it, acting like, yeah, fuck Trump and all this, thinking that they did something. And it's you're in a blue stronghold. Yeah, that's kind of the anticipated outcome. We were hoping that you guys would be smart and vote red, but of course you didn't. But this isn't something to celebrate because what you expected to have happened. You know what I mean? That's like going to a football game and it's a team that's got a record of 14-2 versus a team that's 2-14, and the 14-2 team wins. Yeah, I hope so. The other team absolutely sucks. But anyway, I still wanted to talk about it because this just coincides perfectly with the video I made the other day talking about how dumb the left is. I made that video, and then the very next day was the elections, and they just proved everything that I said right. Without even listening to what I said, it still proved it all right, how dumb they are. So first off, let's start with the absolute biggest one, which is by far the worst option, which is that dumbass Mamdani, whatever his stupid name is, ended up winning. Why? Granted, I will say this, I get it that the options weren't the best. You had this communist moron, you had Andrew Cuomo, and you had, I don't even know who the other guy was. The other guy was just a waste of time. What are you doing there? Obviously, you're not going to win. Obviously, you're not going to pull any kind of majority of the votes. So why are you here for, dickhead? But anyways, out of the two, Mamdani and Cuomo, Cuomo's got his string of problems from when he was governor. You know what I mean? He had to resign, and now they got stupid Hochul in there, and she's horrible. But anyways, which I thought was funny. He got booted out for some kind of scandal as governor, and now he's back trying to be mayor. It was what? Is this legit? You can do this? You can get kicked out as governor, but still try to run for something else? I don't know. I just feel like if you get kicked out of one thing, that you would be banned from everything else or something. I don't know. Maybe he got absolved of all his charges, because wasn't he charged of, sexual groping crap, but maybe it got absolved so he can rerun. I don't know. Anyways, that's besides the point. The point is at the end of the day, Mamdani is a terrible choice. First off, just right away, New York is the state that 9/11 happened in, and the slogan always has been, never forget. Yet 24 years later, they go and elect a terrorist-type individual as their leader. Wow. Way to forget already. Literally one generation is all it took for them to forget. Which doesn't even make sense because, you'd think the younger generation would be aware of this. It's probably taught in schools as in part of their history class or something. I know Alex Rosen and all his videos, when he's trying to talk to somebody, he's always saying, that video of 9/11? And I always think it's funny because it's these older people saw it in real time. There is no video. But since he's a kid, it happened when he was 1. He couldn't experience it in real time. So the only way he experienced it is from videos on YouTube. But anyways, yeah, he's aware of it. So I'm this generation should be aware. How did they forget? You go and elect a Muslim and all this? The group, a person from the group that did this on 9/11 is now the mayor. That just feels so insulting to these families too. You know what I mean? People that, obviously there's plenty of people still alive that had family members that died that day. It's not that long ago. It was 24 years ago. Look at Pete Davidson. His dad was a firefighter that died then. Pete Davidson's still alive. He's younger than me, I think. Like, there's plenty of people still alive that would still be, like, impacted by this. Like, oh, my husband, or oh, my dad, or oh, my brother, or whatever. And it's just like, how did this happen? That I'm Muslim, communist, like, the worst option ends up being the one that wins. Are people this stupid in New York? It's like all these places that are supposed to be nice that you want to go to are ruined by left. You know, New York was a cool place that you'd want to go and visit. Now it's like, I don't want to go to New York. It's run by idiots. It's disgusting because it's always leftist. It's crime-ridden. Same as California. California was always like a destination spot. And now look, Gavin's completely destroyed it. Like, it went from a nice, cool destination spot to, ugh, what are you going to California for? Ugh. Anyways, but yeah, Mamdani is now supposed to be like the leader of not only the financial capital of the country, but like the financial capital of the world, basically. Like a communist. Yeah, that makes sense. A communist as the leader of a financial capital. That makes sense. You know, Andrew Cuomo wouldn't have been great either, like I already said, but at least he would have been a little bit more reasonable when it comes to being the leader of the financial capital of the country/world. I mean, he was governor, after all, so at least he has that experience. Which, speaking of experience, Mamdani basically has no political experience. This guy really didn't even ever hold a job. He's been like an unemployed loser forever, his whole life, with just stupid little things here and there. You know, dabbled in trying to be a crappy rapper. You know, dabbled in, I think he was on the board of Selectmen or something once. And even then, he achieved absolutely nothing. Like, he was just almost like a, what's the best way to describe this? Like a honorary figurehead. That's the word. You know, he didn't achieve anything. He was useless. And now he's the mayor of New York City. Wow, okay. Good going, New Yorkers. Yeah, you really put a lot of thought into this. The only things that I can say that are okay about this happening are, one, I heard there's a ridiculous amount of backlash from a lot of people. A lot of people being like citizens, being other figureheads and what have you. So that could prove good. What I mean by citizens and figureheads and stuff is I hear a lot of people that are like actually rich that live in the city. They said that if Mamdani wins, they plan on just moving out. They're not going to live in New York anymore. They're going to go elsewhere, which is good because that means that's a lot of wealth leaving the city. And when you have a communist trying to run the city, having no wealth only makes his job harder. Look at Kim Jong-un. North Korea's a shithole because they have no money. Because, forbid if he does commerce with anybody. No, he wants to be self-sufficient while having nothing to be self-sufficient with. So that's kind of like New York. Take all the money out, take all the income out. Well, now what money do you have, dickhead? Who are you going to tax more now, dickhead? Where do you think you're going to get money to implement any of your terrible policies? The second thing that's cool is I hear Trump said before Mamdani won that if he does win, he's going to cut all federal funding to New York. Now, I don't know if he meant New York as a whole or just the city, but you know what? Good. F you dumb communist. Again, what are you going to do with no money? You're going to lose all your high-income citizens that pay a lot in taxes. You're going to lose federal funding. Like, yep, have fun being a communist with absolutely no way to control funds when there are none. Another thing that I heard was awesome is anybody that, I don't know the full details, I forget now what it was, but it was something along the lines of like anybody that leaves the state to go to Texas, Governor Abbott said that he would levy a 100% tariff on them. So I don't exactly know what that means. I don't know if that means people that are just leaving to go live in Texas are going to be taxed heavily to buy a house or something. I don't know. But yeah, that's cool. In a way, I mean, if you're not one of the dickheads that voted for Mamdani, then that's kind of crappy for you that now you got to pay tons of money because your city is stupid. But if you are a lefty who's now seeing the errors in your ways and you're like, oh my God, this sucks, then it's like, haha, F you. You reap what you sow, mother effer. You wanted to vote for this mess, and now you get to struggle with it. Congrats, you mother effing lations. And then that's the other thing, too. At the end of the day, Mamdani wants to be this huge communist, wants to, give free bus rides and free this and free that. And it's like, how do you really think this is supposed to happen, dickhead? So at the end of the day, none of his terrible policies are really going to be able to take effect because there's not going to be any funding. How are you going to pay for it? It's not going to happen. Which means then it's just going to be like a in theory thing. And then he'll probably run for re-election when the time comes, and he might win because then he'll change his grift. Instead of offering everybody that he can do this, he's going to run on like the campaign of, like trying to be the rebellion or whatever. We're going to make it so that then we can do this instead of them holding us down and blah, 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 and all this dumb nonsense. But yeah, so yeah, that was just very, very disappointing. Like, I can't believe the worst option for New York ended up winning. I mean, it sucked to begin with because all it was Democrats. Like, where were the Republicans? Are there no Republicans trying to run for mayor? I don't get it. But still, out of all the options, the absolute worst, most loser, pointless idiot on that ticket ended up winning. And I knew they would. I was hoping New Yorkers would be smart. Nope, of course not. Then you got the states. You got New Jersey. They had an election. Of course, they vote Democrat. Like, yeah, good choice, idiots. Do you not learn anything from the other states that have Democrat leaders? Do you not see So what, you see California and you think, I want to be like that. You see Massachusetts and you're like, I want to be like that. You see Maine and you want to be like, I want to be like that. Like, what's the matter with you? But what I think is more egregious, the one that won in New Jersey, whatever. Cool, New Jersey's blue anyways, ever since Christie left. And even then, Christie's a rhino, so he basically was purple. He wasn't even red when he was the governor. But you have Virginia. Virginia now chose a stupid Democrat for their governor after that guy won. I forget his name, but he won, which was cool last time. Now they got some stupid woman in there. And she's a problem because she's very biased and all this other nonsense, whatever words you want to use that mean negative, yeah, that's her. I mean, she supports that AG guy. What was his name? Oh man, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. But the AG guy that was talking about like killing Republicans and stuff. Yeah, she supported that. She had no problem supporting that. And it's like, really, Virginians? This is what you support? This is what you want to lead you? What's even dumber is the lady that was going up against her. I don't remember her name either. But she obviously was a way better option. By every metric. She could speak, she was intelligent, she had policies. I saw a brief portion of the debate that they had, and this dumb woman that did win was so useless in it. She basically just stood there and said nothing while the other lady was like actually grilling her with good questions and being intelligent and stuff. And it's like, of course she loses. Yep, the dumb moron, that one wins. Good job, Virginia. And, of course, that problematic person that was running for AG, yep, he won. Yep. Joe Jones or something? What was his name? I don't know. But, yep, he won. Yep. Hey, let's elect the guy to be Attorney General, a guy who's clearly biased and wants to talk crap about Republicans and talk about how the Republican kids are little fascists and all this dumb nonsense. Yeah, let's elect him. That makes sense. Don't try to get somebody who's biased or maybe somebody who's on the right but understands, well, my job entails that I don't have bias. Nope, let's just openly elect somebody who's biased. That makes sense. Man, that makes so much sense. Somebody that's threatening to murder people because they align with a different party than he does. Yeah, that's how you do it. I mean, New York effed up severely, but Virginia did pretty bad as well. Then heading over to California. I mean, would you really expect anything different? No. You hope for it, but it doesn't happen. But of course, California voted to pass Prop 50. So what was Prop 50? Prop 50 is essentially Newsom's plan to try to stay in power. That's all it is. Is it going to benefit the citizens any that Prop 50 passed? No, it's not going to benefit them one bit. All it does is benefit Newsom and any Democratic buddies that he might have. What Prop 50 was just a redistricting plan, aka severe gerrymandering. As if California is not already gerrymandered to hell as it is. But sure, we needed more gerrymandering of California. Yep, that makes sense. Because being a very strongly blue state wasn't enough. You gotta be, I don't know, royal blue now, not just regular blue. You gotta be as dark blue as possible. You gotta look black at night. You're such a dark blue. And of course, all these idiots voted for it. Like, what are you voting for? So that way then you can maintain having terrible governors. You can maintain having terrible leadership in the House of Representatives. Like, you are the worst state in the nation right now, and you vote to just keep it terrible. Like, what is wrong with these people? How can they be this stupid? What is going on in California that people are this brain dead? Like, seriously. Is public education like just read whatever vandalism you see in a public stall and that's your education? Like, come on. Voted yes on Prop 50. You know, and I knew they would. I was hoping they wouldn't. I was really hoping they wouldn't. Because I did see a lot of anti-Prop 50 stuff on Twitter and stuff, and I was like, hey, man, I know Twitter X isn't really leftist anymore like it used to be, so to see all that's kind of par for the course. But it was like, hey, you never know. Maybe this is a good sign. Maybe. From what I understand, what the current districting is anyways, is it was kind of a lot of red. Like, it could have been enough to actually flip California, which would be crazy. So, you know, I thought maybe it could be accurate and this would happen. Nope. Prop 50 passed. Cool. Well, way to go, Californians. Enjoy your terrible life. Like, all I can say is hopefully all the people that aren't idiots are able to move out and go somewhere better. Texas isn't far. That's pretty solid under Abbott. So, one thing I think would be kind of funny, though, is if this dumb gerrymandering goes through, not if, when it goes through, people that live in California end up, like, dispersing in ways that they're able to still, like, take over some gerrymandered areas so they're red, and it just totally backfires. That'd be funny. Like, haha, Newsom, F you, your plan completely failed. And then, anyways, the last thing I wanted to say was in terms of my local politics. So, for me, I live in a really small town. So, like, at the end of the day, I don't think the politics really matter. It doesn't matter if Democrat wins, Republican wins, Independent wins. It really doesn't make a difference. But, of course, it did go pretty poorly. We ended up with the same mayor that we currently have, who's now on the Democrat ticket. He's a traitor. He's basically been like a lifelong Republican up until about a year and a half ago. So, now he's a Democrat. The only thing I can think of, which would be kind of funny, is if he's a fake Democrat. I guess that'd be like a dino. And what I mean is if he knows that my state is kind of blue, and if he thought, hey, I wonder if I become a Democrat, if this will just increase my chances of being able to continuously win. And so he's pretending to be a Democrat just for the purpose of winning, but at the end of the day, is still kind of like a Republican in disguise. So his core values are Republican, but he's putting on a front as if he's a Democrat. Then that would be kind of cool, but I don't know. It is kind of weird, though. This guy's been in politics my whole entire life. I remember seeing his name on things when I was like 8. And I'm like, how do you go from being a lifelong Republican to changing now? Especially now, when things are as crazy as they are and the Democrats are just a terrible satanic party. Like, why would you switch now? Maybe back 15 years ago when things were more stable, fine. But now? The weirdest time to choose. But anyways, yeah, so of course he got re-elected, which just makes no sense. Like, come on, this guy is fake. He's not even a real Democrat. And of course the dumb Democrats are like, yeah, I'll vote for that. That makes sense. A guy who flipped 2 years ago, I would have hated him because he's on the wrong party, but now I love him. I gotta vote for him. Like, what? You guys are so stupid. But yeah, so we got that. And we got I think we have like 5 selectmen or something, people on some kind of committee, and I think 3 of them were Democrats that won. Only 2 were Republican, and it's just like, come on. I guess 2 is better than nothing, but like, come on. Of course, it couldn't go the way it went. And the thing that I don't understand at all is I saw, I should say, so many signs supporting Republicans in my area. You know, oh, vote Republican for Board of Education, vote Republican for this, vote Republican for that. I thought for sure we were going to have a nice landslide Republican turnout, and yet that wasn't the case at all. And I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. The only thing I can think of is basically my town has like 2 sides. I live on one side, which also has like a lot of businesses. So I don't really have any purpose to go to the other side of the town because the other side is more residential. So maybe the residential side was just jam-packed with these stupid Democrats, and that's why he was able to win, was because of that side of town. But my side of town is more Republican, but because there's businesses, there's less homes. You know what I mean? So that means there's actually less people voting Republican than it looks. I don't know. But I was very disappointed. I was hoping for a better turnout. However, there is one thing I will say, which it just makes sense why a lot of us lost. And it's that the Republicans in my town, I don't feel like have good marketing. You know, we don't know anything really about the Republican team. I mean, take a look at the guy that they put up to run for the mayor spot. I don't know this guy at all. I've never seen him before. I've never heard his name before. You know, it said that he's a businessman. Well, what business? What business does this guy run? Apparently, I've never been to any of his businesses. Like, I don't know what his positions were. I don't know what his vision for the town was. I don't know what his future plans for the town might have been. I don't know anything about this guy at all. I don't know if he lives in the town. I don't know if he lives in, if he does live in the town, how long has he lived here? If he doesn't live in the town, where do you live and why are you running to be our mayor? Like, there's so many variables that are kind of important to know, and I don't know any of them. So that's one marketing fail. Second is half of the Republican team, I don't know who they are. I only know of 2 of them. One of them I know of because I've actually talked to the guy and met him before and everything. I have his phone number, I have his email, I have all that. So that's why I know him. And the other guy I know because he actually sends out flyers pretty regularly. You know, you get him like in your junk mail. It's just he sends out like an informational about himself. It's almost like a little political resume, I guess you could say. So that's why I know about him, because he makes himself known. But otherwise, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know who he was either. You know? He'd just be another anonymous name on the list, just like the other 3, 4 were. And then I get to thinking about it, and I'm like, what about the rest of the town? The guy that I know him because, like I said, I personally met him. How about the rest of the town, though? Do they know who he is? Or is he just a name? Like, has anybody else met him? Or when they looked at the ballot, they're like, I think I've heard this name before. I don't know. Like, the Republicans need to get out more and make themselves known. They need to do something. Because the Democrat team, there was a lot of people there that were well known. Obviously, there's the mayor. Mr. Trader was a Republican, now a Democrat. But, like, he's well known because he's been in politics, like I said, forever. Since I was, like, 8, 7. I don't know. I've seen his name forever. And the one thing that I always was able to look at it for and remember, is because his name's unique, kind of like mine. It's not the same as my name, but it's close. And I always thought it was just kind of weird. And I always wondered, is that his real name? But then I thought, well, I don't know. I got a weird name, too. That's my real name, so maybe that is his real name. But anyways, yeah, so he's got the name recognition because he's been in politics forever. You got another guy that was running who has name recognition because he's had a martial arts studio in town for a long time, 25, 30 years. So he's got that name recognition. So I don't remember anybody else that was on that ticket, but at the very least, there's those 2 that have big name recognition. Like, nobody really in our team had, well, I guess that one guy that I said sends out the flyers, but even then, is that name recognition? I don't know. I recognize it because I look at the flyer when I see it. Does it? But what about anybody else who gets it? Maybe they see it and they're, oh, what's this crap? And throw it away. So that means he might not even have name recognition either. So, like, the Republicans in my town need to start getting their act together and start, figuring out ways to get their names out there so that then they're known and they're not just some anonymous word on a paper. Another thing is, I think their way to raise funds sucks. Now, I don't know what the Democrats do, but when I was briefly involved in the local town politics, I know one thing that we were going to put on was a bake sale. And it was like, seriously? Like, how gay is this? A bake sale? What are we, a third grade class trying to raise funds for a field trip? Like, bake sale? What are we going to make? $200? 300 maybe if you really mark things up? Like, if you want to raise money, you got to put on something good. Put on a mini fair that'll draw in tons of people, both Democrats and Republicans. Get money from all of them. Charge a cheap amount. You can't charge too much because you want to be able to attract people. Maybe charge $5 for an entry fee. And then, do something like that. Have it go on for a few days. Pick a good weekend that you can put it on over. Or put on, we have an amphitheater in town. Get like a good cover band to come to town and play in that amphitheater. A good cover band. Like, good, like A, like they're actually good, and B, like something good that people might like. Don't get like a stupid Taylor Swift cover band. Nobody cares about that. Get something good. Maybe like a Alice in Chains cover band, because now, what's his name? Axl Rose. He's all like Mickey Mousey sounding and all busted up. So you get a good cover band that can sound like how he did in the late '80s, and then boom, there you go. Again, sell as cheap of tickets as you can. Obviously, the cover band's going to want to make money. So let's say they charge $20 a ticket, and we got to make money as well. It's our fundraiser. So maybe just tack on $5. Same thing as the fair, or even $10. Make them $30 a ticket. That's probably reasonable. I don't know. I don't go to concerts, but that might be reasonable. And then boom, I'm sure that could draw enough people in. $30 and $10 a ticket. You got 200 people that show up. That's $2,000. It's not a lot, but it sure is better than your gay little bake sale where you made $200 by a factor of 10. And relatively speaking, you didn't have to put in too much effort. I mean, yeah, you did. You had to try to recruit these people to come out to the town and all this and make ads and stuff. But I mean, you don't put in effort in the sense of you're not baking anything. You're just kind of making a few calls or sending out some emails or whatever, getting things squared away, and then there we go. Let's go. But, they got to do stuff like that. Because that might be part of the name recognition, too. They just don't have money to, promote people. So if you had more money, the promotion could be a lot easier. It's like Trump when he was on the presidential campaign. He's going from state to state to state to state to no problem because he's, funding himself. It's just his own money that he's blowing on his own private jet to go from state to state to state, no problem. Yeah, I'm going to go from this place to that place to that place all in a matter of 3 hours. No big deal. Now, if you're a broke guy like me, you're going to go to one place and be like, well, I guess this is it. Hopefully I made a huge impact because I can't afford to go to these other places. So, same idea. We got to have good fundraisers to make good money. Now, I know we're also a small town and we have to probably stay within our confines, so we can't put on, a huge thing. You know what I mean? It's not like we could contact a local, DCU center type situation and have some kind of big concert there and really make tons of money. But, just figure it out. Brainstorm. The best you can come up with is a bake sale? Get real. Or if you're going to do a bake sale, compound it. Have the bake sale be a part of your fair that you put on. Or have your bake sale be a part of that concert that you put on. Or combine the things and then charge a little higher for the tickets, Have a little fair that also includes that band at the end of the day, and the tickets are $40 because you get the band plus some fare for the fair. And now you just up to the fair price by blending it in with the concert, and people don't realize. All you gotta do is say it's the concert's fault if people really got cranky. They're charging us $30, even though they're charging $15 and you're pocketing $25. But yeah, they gotta think. They gotta do better. I feel like that's why we lost. It's just like in the last elections. for our local rep, you had one guy, the Democrat, who's been in politics forever, just like the current mayor of my town, been in politics forever, going up against some guy that must be his first time trying to run for higher office like that. I never heard of the guy. I don't know anything about him. And his slogans were generic, too. He didn't even have, like, a catchy slogan. It was something like, I saw one billboard of him that said something like, tired of high grocery prices? I can fix that. Like, bro, that's the best you can do? A super generic tagline? You can't come up with anything a little bit more unique to yourself that can help, set you apart from the rest of the pack? And almost a year later, or actually, a year later now, I still don't know anything about this guy. All I know is his name. I know nothing about what his positions were, nothing about him at all. And obviously he lost to the other guy, like that was a no-brainer. You have a guy that has strong name recognition because he's been in politics forever versus a no-name that doesn't even tell you anything about himself. Again, my local Republicans need to do better and make themselves more known and heard and everything instead of this weird semi-anonymous nonsense. We're never going to win at this rate. I don't know. I do plan on getting back into my town politics, though. I'm just waiting on my daughter to be older and have her own life. So when that happens, then I can do my own thing and I'll get into politics and I'll turn this stuff around. If no one else can figure it out, I will. You guys want to run a terrible RNC? Don't worry, I'll make it a great RNC. I'll make it so my town never can win Democrat. Not from cheating, but just because we're just so awesome that people have no choice but to support us. I don't know why I have ideas, but these people are actually in these positions don't have any ideas. Like, come on. Anyways, this actually was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have a lot more to say. I just wanted to kind of complain about the election results, though. They were horrible, especially for New Jersey, Virginia, California, and most specifically, New York City. This is a disaster having a communist and Muslim packaged into one running the city, but whatever, I guess. That's what these morons chose, so have fun with it. It was just very disappointing this morning to find out every bad option is what happened. But like I said, it's also in strong blue places, so it's like, yeah, I guess this is kind of par for the course. There's really no surprise, it's just sucky. But yeah, so that's all I got. Thanks for checking this out with me, listening to this with me, whatever the heck you want to say. And until next time, I said see ya.